That constant mental chatter about food isn't hunger, it's food noise, and it's sabotaging your weight loss. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to stop it. My name is Carlo DeSalvo. I'm a behavior change specialist, a certified hypnotherapist that specializes in weight loss and fitness. And over the years, I've helped hundreds of people gain control of their behaviors and their habits. That way, they could get the weight loss goals that they wanted. Now, I know what it's like to have that voice in your head calling to you. And it seems to be, in the afternoon or maybe later at night when you are bored or you're stressed out, or maybe it's when you don't have something healthy ready. And then you've got that voice in your head that's saying, just order the pizza. Or maybe you've got the bag of chips in your cupboard and you're thinking, well, just this once. When you really know deep down inside, it's not going to be that once. It's just a repetitive habit and behavior. This is conditioning, and it's breaking you down emotionally day by day, because I know what it's like. And you're probably thinking the same thing. You know what to eat, you just can't seem to stick to it. And that consistency is where you get your results from. You need to consistently follow a plan in order to see sustained results. Now, I also know that if you've been trying to lose weight, you've done lots of studying. You have a good idea of what you should be eating. And you're probably thinking to yourself, I know what to eat, I just can't seem to stick to it. And then you tell yourself you need more willpower. These thoughts tend to creep in your mind when you're experiencing stress or boredom, or perhaps you're just feeling like you need some comfort. And a lot of times, that thought that moves through your head is, well, I deserve it. I had a hard day. But after you eat it, you're always feeling a little bit guilty. You feel like you've let yourself down. You feel like you've sabotaged your future, and that future seems to be slipping away, and you can see it slipping away in your own hands. But let's get down to the real core of what the issue is. There are three parts that cause you to fall off. Number one is psychological, and psychological is probably the strongest of them all. You see, that psychological component really controls that constant nagging that enters into your mind. It's the stress that you feel or the perceived restriction. That perceived restriction comes from that feeling like you're being deprived. Now, that all ties back to your identity. You see, if your identity shifted from being deprived to the individual that is choosing this, and that's how you live because that's how you want to live, because you know it's the best thing for your health and for your physical body and your appearance and your confidence. That just becomes who you are. Have you ever looked at a person that goes to the gym 5 days a week and they eat healthy like every single day, and maybe they have one cheat meal a week or even bi-weekly, and then you go, wow, I wish I had their willpower? Well, that is not willpower that you're witnessing. What you're witnessing there is conditioning, mental conditioning. That has become a part of their identity. That identity is easy for them to execute because it's just who they are. It's a lot like asking, why does a bird fly? A bird flies because it's a bird. That's its identity. It flies through the air and it makes it look easy and graceful. The second part that you have to overcome is the environment, your environmental surroundings. Do you have these foods that are bad for you in your home? Do you see it when you're walking through the grocery store? Do you see it in social settings? So, if that's the case, one way you can help yourself while you're transitioning is to minimize the environmental temptation, because temptation is what's going to open that door to that mental chatter. So, the first thing to do is to clear out your cupboards to make sure you're supporting yourself. When you go to the grocery store, shop on the perimeter of the grocery store and avoid the center aisles where all the junk food is. Secondly, try to minimize your social engagements that are conducive to unhealthy eating. Like maybe if you're meeting up with people where beer and wings are always had, then maybe you need to reconsider that for a short period of time. And thirdly, the last part of this is biological. The biological part of this can come from conditioning. And that conditioning is what your body is used to actually consuming. So if you're consuming foods that are high in fat, high in sugar, then you've conditioned biologically what your body is used to receiving. Also, that tends to spike the hunger hormone ghrelin because your body's not experiencing steady states of glucose. So, the one thing that you can do is to make sure that you're prioritizing protein in all of your meals and make sure the meals are smaller and spread out through the day. So, the one thing you can do is make sure you have some meal prep done. But the real problem underneath all of it is your mental conditioning. It is the identity, because once your identity is aligned with that person that you want to become, then all of it gets easier. You naturally choose different environments. You're naturally eating the 5 meals a day, constantly prioritizing protein and vegetables and clean carbohydrates. All of a sudden, that food noise begins to dampen and completely disappear. Now, I know what everyone wants. Everyone wants to be able to go into their closet and to easily select the clothes that they want to wear instead of looking in the closet and wondering what is going to hide my body the best, or looking at clothes that you have that you can't fit anymore, or clothes that you bought because you want to fit into them. Maybe it's going to the beach and sitting on a lawn chair rather than pulling off your clothes and actually enjoying the beach and the water. Those things are all achievable, but they're achievable only through consistency. And the one thing that needs to happen is to silence the food noise. And those three things that I discussed: psychological barriers, the environmental barriers, and the biological barriers, those can all be overcome. The strongest is the psychological. And the one way to overcome the psychological barrier is through hypnosis. Hypnosis is the fastest way to do it, to reprogram the identity layer of your psyche. I have helped hundreds of people over the last few years reprogram their mind so that way they just ate in alignment. I've even helped pro level bodybuilders while they were in extreme cuts. They had to go on 20-week caloric cut phases in order to make sure they were ready on stage with ripped abs. Now, that is a massive biological stressor and psychological stressor. And they realize that the mind is the biggest part of all of that. So that's why they leverage the power of hypnosis during those phases. Once you condition your mind, you condition the behavior, and the behavior is where the results come from. It's consistent behavior. You need to silence that constant nagging that's going on in your mind, because in your mind, deep down underneath that layer that you actually don't want the junk. You can do this. I firmly believe that that image that you have of your future self is within reach. All you need to do is to make the decision that that's what you want. Get your mindset right, reduce the environmental temptations, and finally, reduce the biological noise that comes from ghrelin, from having the peaks and valleys in your blood levels, by eating consistently and prioritizing protein. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I'm going to continue to make content like this that's going to help you move the needle closer to your goals. I'm going to put a link in the description if you'd like to explore on how I can help you with hypnosis to make this transition a lot easier and silence that food noise for good. Thanks, everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.